championships.
I guess it's time to go again. Hello, my name is Erin. I am I suppose I can officially call myself a bikini competitor from Ireland, and I am just about now, and I have just started prep for my second ever competitive season. And I really did want to document it on YouTube this time because I had started a little mini series of reels on my Instagram, and as soon as I did the first episode I realised I am definitely more of a long form content girl and I can talk for Ireland, which is kind of surprising because I feel like I am quite introverted and don't talk so much, but definitely not the case. So here we are. Some will say that I have copied Nick, my partner, some Nick on YouTube or Nick_Team Evolve on Instagram. However, I would say that I was thinking about it for a longer time in the background and he just beat me to it. But I am really excited that we're both going to be documenting our preps. Nick is a lot further along than I am. He is currently 5 weeks out from his first show and I am 18. So it's definitely going to be two different timelines, two different perspectives. Obviously, Nick is not a bikini girl, so it will still be nice and varied in terms of the two different point of views that you will get on both of our channels. But yeah, I'm so excited to be starting this, even if it literally is for myself to watch. Like, at the end of the day, for me, this isn't going to be about trying to grow a platform. If I can be of any sort of value or entertainment or just passing the time for fellow competitors when they're doing their cardio, or for people who are considering competing for the first time and they want to have a relatively, fresh perspective. Also, I found when I was starting out and considering it myself, I found it quite hard to find other Irish girls who were going through preps, with the exception of Olivia. If you are watching this, you have probably also watched Olivia's vlogs. She got me through my first prep in terms of like really helping me know what to expect and what was coming and prepare myself for just how hard it might potentially be. She actually had the same coach at the time as I now have, so it was really cool to get that perspective, and honestly the vlog series was invaluable and I watched it so many times. I don't care to reveal how many times, but as silly as it sounds, people vlogging their experiences and week to week can honestly just really help. So yeah, maybe I can be of some help or some entertainment or some value, or maybe it can just be a really nice tool for me to be able to look back on in the future, because that was one thing that I did regret last year, was not documenting quite as much. I'm sure people on my Instagram and people around me would argue otherwise and say that I probably posted too much, but genuinely I don't think I have enough, especially videos. So it'll be really nice to have proper tangible stuff to see how I'm feeling, how I'm getting on, and track my progress. Not just like actual check-ins with my coach, and not just the few pictures every now and again that I was taking in the gym. So yeah, I'm really excited. So in terms of a little background, I suppose let's rewind back to my first season, which was last year. I stepped on stage for the first time in October last year at the Two Bros Naturals. It was the Vitae Plant Classic. First ever time on stage. All I wanted from last prep was just to figure out if I liked it, first of all, because I really didn't know. This was something that is so far outside of my comfort zone. Like, I used to be the girl who would find any excuse in the world to skip PE because I didn't like doing team sports or exercise. I didn't like people watching me. I still don't like people watching me. I don't even let my family sing happy birthday to me on my birthday because it cringes me out. So for me, stepping on stage in a bikini under the lights and everything like that was a huge risk, and I didn't know if I was going to like it. I knew obviously throughout the whole prep that I was enjoying the process and I found it fascinating, but actually getting on stage and the show day, if I was going to like it or not. So that was the first thing that I wanted, was to find out, do I like this? Is this for me? spoiler alert, it was very much for me. And secondly, my only other goal was just like, my best case scenario in my head would have been to be in the first call out. So if you aren't familiar with the layout of a show, if there are more than say 6 people, 7 people in a category, they will split it into different call outs. So you will all do your individual routines, you'll do a few comparisons, and then they will call out a couple of people to come back on stage and compare them and move them around. So for me, all I wanted, like the most amazing thing that I could have asked for, would have been to have been in the first call out in my class. So there were 13 in my first class. I did 2. I did True Novice and I did my height class as well. There were 13 in True Novice. I was in that first call out, and there were 10 in my height class, and I was also in that first call out, and in both ended up staying in the center, which, like, it didn't even register in my brain at the time. It honestly didn't, even though I could hear Nick, I could hear Mike, I could hear my posing coach and everyone like shouting, and just, you know, something was going on as far as they could see, but I had no idea really what was going on. It's very hard to keep track of what's happening around you when you're on stage. You're just trying to think about your posing, your breathing, smiling, like just trying to make sure everything's switched on. So yeah, it really was a huge surprise to me then when it came to the awards, and when I did get first place in both of those classes. Like, it just it's still so crazy to me. And the fact that I then obviously went into the overall because I won my high class, it was just never even on the cards. It was never in my mind as a possibility for my first show. So it was incredible. And to top it all off, I did end up, I don't know if you can see the frisbee like trophy here. If you don't know, if you know Two Bros, you will know this is the overall trophy. So I ended up winning the entire show, the bikini class, in like the entire show. So pretty much things could not have gone any better, and I loved every bit of it. It was amazing. That show was on in Wigan, which is actually where Nick's first show was on this year, and it was such a lovely venue. I loved it. It was really well laid out. It was quite well organised as well. We weren't too delayed or anything like that, because I know that bikini can be quite notorious for being pushed back a lot. So honestly, it's just the most incredible first show day experience, and it definitely solidified that it was the right decision to go through with the prep. So after that win, we had 2 weeks before my second show, which was at home in Ireland, and I did PCA this time. So PCA is a different federation. Your Two Bros, your MPC, which was what I did first, is the kind of entry point and the way to get into the IFBB, which is the whole professional side of the sport. If you want to go to the Olympia, blah blah blah, that is the route that you go down. PCA is a different federation, and they look for very different things. It's very well known that they do. PCA tend to look for a lot more condition, so a lot leaner, like really hard, really muscly, big delts, they're a little bit more on the quad side of things, whereas in bikini and MPC it's just balance and pretty muscle, whereas PCA is like hard and lean and just sharp. So I had 2 weeks to then prep for the PCA Galway, which we did, and I ended up coming second, which I was absolutely delighted with, because actually that show, I'm a little bit less comfortable with the PCA posing. I am not a very top heavy girl. I'm not a very bottom heavy girl either, and that, you know, I think that is a reason why I did well in NPC, is that I was quite balanced. But yeah, I'm not a very top heavy girl, so the power posing that you have to do in PCA, like I just wasn't super comfortable doing it. You also have to pose on 2 sides in your side pose, which I wasn't too happy with either. But it ended up being a really nice show and a really great experience as well, as much as it was really hard in the run up to it, because I was kind of convinced that A, there's so much pressure on me now to do well, and B, I don't think I'm going to be what the judges are looking for. but I did surprise myself, and that honestly was such a fun show as well. I would really recommend, if you are starting off, to do a PCA Ireland show if you can, if you're Irish obviously, or from the UK and you can travel over. Like, we always have to travel over to the UK, so you know, it can work both ways. Super on time, on schedule, very chill backstage. The only thing for me is that I do wish that you could do more than one class in PCA, because as I said, in NPC I could do 2 or more. If I wanted to, I could have done 3. In PCA you just have to pick one and roll with it. So I would have liked to have had another chance, because I did mess up my posing on stage, unfortunately, but I loved doing my routine. That was really fun, and I kind of think that saved me a little bit, I suppose. So that was how my first season went. Those 2 shows, and then we called it a day there. They were the only 2 shows we had planned. When I did win the overall in NPC, I did consider going to do the pro qualifier, which was in France like 2 weeks after PCA, but it just didn't work out. Spoiler alert, that is going to be the one that I'm eyeing up this year though, and I am so excited. Like, I'm so determined to get there, so fingers crossed we will. So yes, prep ended in November, and it is now the end of May. It's the last week of May. It's the 30th of May today, I believe. Yes, it is. And we are back in prep. We are nearly a week in. So we had roughly five and a half months of an off season, which obviously is not a huge amount of time, but I'm actually somewhat happy with what we've been able to bring in that time. And all I want for this season is to just be better than I was last year. And that doesn't mean to place better, because it's not really possible. And the shows that I'm doing are quite different for the most part, but it is to look better and to bring a better package, to pose better, to have a better physique, to be more confident, more comfortable, and also to just take things in even more than I did. So those are kind of my intentions going into this season. Yes, there is pressure because of the results that I got last year, not from anybody else but from myself. That's probably something that you will see a lot in these videos, is like, I am going to be very bloody honest in terms of how I'm feeling, and right now, 1 week in, I am like, this is going to be hard. Like, this is hard because I have an expectation on myself now. But keeping in mind that all I want to do is bring better than I brought last year, I am happy with where I'm at right now. In terms of a physical starting point, I do think we have made some progress in the areas that we needed to, which is mainly my upper body. As I said, I'm not very top heavy. I've struggled for a long time with like imbalances in my upper body and just pain all the time when I'm training, which is managed with a lot of physio and sports massage. But looking at the pictures that I've taken for starting this time around versus last time, you can see that there has been progress made, and it is really exciting, because only towards the back end of my last prep did I start to see any sort of muscle and definition in my upper body and my back, and kind of that like taper upwards from your lats into your shoulders is where I really want to see some progress. And I do think that we have made a little bit, and hopefully we can continue to as I start off prep, before things get too crazy and too far into a deficit to make any progress. But even like my coach was saying, like, this time last year, all that I could see in your back shot was your hair, but now there's actually some muscle peeping out behind the hair, so we must be getting somewhere. We must have done something right, and I can't wait to see what it does look like underneath. So in terms of where we're starting off this prep, in my off season, peak off season if you want to call it that, again we say off season kind of loosely because it was only a couple of months of growth, but calories went up to, I think they were above 3,300 calories for a little while. Not for a super long period of time, but they were there. And I was doing no cardio. My steps were at 10,000, but on average, I tend to be getting closer to like 13,000 over the week on an average. So some days I would be getting 10 or 11k, some days I'd be getting 15. It just depends on the day. I did change jobs since prep. So this prep is going to be completely different. I don't really know what to expect now because I am back working a 9 to 5, whereas last year I was working as a PT and an online coach, so I was very much, to a certain extent, in charge of my own schedule, and I was able to kind of like taper things off as it got closer to the end, and if I needed more time for cardio or for posing or for whatever it was. Whereas now I don't have that choice or that luxury, so it's going to be very, very different, and I am very interested to see if that will affect the protocols that we take at all. Just as an idea, the peak prep I went from talking about peak off season to peak prep, bear with me, we'll get back around. Peak prep, I was doing 75 minutes of cardio 7 days a week. Again, not for long, it was only for a couple of weeks. 13,000 steps was my goal, and food was just above 1,000 calories. Again, not for long at all, and actually when it came to the in-between of my two shows, I was up to 1,500 calories, which was a head melt. It was very strange, but I do think I actually was more conditioned going into the second show even on those calories, so it was pretty cool. So yeah, those were kind of what I ended up on last time around, so it'll be very interesting to see what I end up on this time. But whatever it takes, we will do it. We will find a way to do it because we have to be better than we were before, so it'll be fun. In terms of where we're at now, calories have come down. So the week before we started prep, we did a little mini pre-prep phase. We didn't do it too long at all. I think last time we had 3 to 4 weeks of a pre-prep, whereas now I literally did like a week to 10 days. We had come down gradually, so we had taken a little dip in calories to around 2,900, and now I'm on 2,450 on my training days, and then roughly 2,000 on my rest days. So there is a good bit taken off already straight off the bat, but it's been fine. I've actually changed up my food a little bit as well, because I'm not going to lie, as much as being on a meal plan is amazing for knowing what you need to buy, when you need to eat the same meals, knowing what to expect, and your digestion is kind of regulated, I was starting to get the ick a little bit with some of my foods. So I was like to Mike, right, do you mind? I know we probably shouldn't really be playing around with food at this stage as we go into prep, but if it has to go back to what it was as we get further into it, that's fine, but can we just change it around for a little bit, please? Because I'm starting to become really averse to eating some of these meals. Like, I would be eating them and I'd be like gagging, even though I wasn't, you know, over full or anything like that. I just, yeah, eating the same stuff for this long has just finally gotten to me. So we made a few changes this week as well, which I have been really loving, and in the videos I will cover what I'm eating and how that changes as well. And we also added in cardio. So at the moment I'm just doing 4 days of 15 minutes, which is absolutely fine. I'm actually on a couple of days off from work at the moment, and I'm like, I don't know what to do with myself. I don't know when to do my cardio because I have so much time to play with. But where I can, when I'm in the gym, I'll do that on the Stairmaster, because that's what I used for the majority of my prep last year. It's super efficient. You really work so fucking hard when you're on the Stairmaster. So where I have the time, I will do it there, or we have the bike, which you can definitely see in shot, for early mornings at home as well. Once you are putting your all into your cardio, it doesn't really matter what you do. I will always steer clear of the treadmill myself, because I know that it is easy to cheat, and I actually find it the most boring form of cardio. Like, people say that Stairmaster time goes slow, but I think the treadmill goes so much slower. So that's kind of what I will be alternating between this year as well. I don't see that changing. I don't go near the cross trainer, absolutely not, and I don't go near the treadmill for cardio. If I need it for steps, obviously I will, but Stairmaster and bike will be the forms of torture this year again. Now, with those changes, I actually haven't lost any weight yet, so that has been a little bit of a head wobble, to be honest, the past couple of days. But I do know that there was a period of time towards the end of my growing season where I wasn't being as consistent with my meals, with my meal timings, and I was missing things sometimes. So it does need a little bit of time to regulate back out, and I do understand that as well. But with that being said, we're now checking in twice a week. So I checked in on Wednesday, it's now Friday, and I'm going to check in again tomorrow. And Mike has kind of said, look, we will probably make changes then. So I'm excited for those, to be honest, because I really do want to see a change now. Like, we need to start dropping weight. We have a rough idea of the goal of where we want to be in 18 weeks time. Well, it's actually 17 now. So we need to be moving now. So I am ready for those changes, and I'm excited to see what the check-in tomorrow brings as well. And then in terms of other things that are coming up really soon, I actually have my bikini appointment. My bikini consultation with Emma from Belle Bikinis in 3 weeks time. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Like, another reason why I think I did quite well last year was my bikini, because I went with something that was really different for someone with my colouring. You usually tend to see brunettes wearing your royal primary colours, so your reds, your emerald greens, your royal blues, and I just knew, because I wasn't sure if this was going to be a thing that I did again, I just wanted to go with a colour that I loved, and it ended up being like a light purple, a lilac colour with some pinks through it. Honestly, loved it so much. She is so talented, her suits are such high quality, could not recommend her more. So I'm so excited to be going up and seeing her again in a couple of weeks. I have a couple of ideas of what colours I want to do. It might be a 2-colour season this season, because I am doing 3 shows instead of 2, so you will definitely have to stay tuned to find out whether or not I keep them under wraps for the entire prep. I don't know, because I kept my one secret last season, but it ended up being spoiled before I could even post it, so we'll see whether or not I keep it a secret or whether I just reveal closer to the time. I definitely won't reveal it in my consultation, especially if I do end up going with a fully custom one. Last year I just picked one that she had ready, but I'm not sure if she's gonna have what I'm looking for this year, so we'll have to see. But yeah, that is super exciting. I can't explain how much I think about it and how much thought goes into picking a colour, because you have to make sure that it's going to suit you, that you feel comfortable in it, that you love it, and yeah, it's a big deal. The sparkly bikinis are a very big deal. I've also ordered a new pair of heels, because I'm currently on my 3rd pair in just over a year that are breaking. So the shoes that I wore on stage in October, November last year are on their last legs already. Now, might I add, I did barely any posing in my off season, so yeah, I have invested in a better pair. I'm very excited. I have them on pre-order from Compaq. I'm getting a shoe fairy pair, which my gorgeous posing coach Hannah actually helped me pick, and I tried on her pair that she had when I went over to see her at her workshop a couple of weeks ago, and yeah, I'm very excited to get them. They are a huge investment, but I'm hoping it will be worth it. They're very similar to the style that I wear now, but better quality. Fingers crossed. And trust me, I will be looking after them with my life. I do still have 2 dodgy pairs with dodgy straps for practicing, but yeah, so those are kind of the next things to look forward to. I will definitely show you the shoes when they come. Again, as I say, I probably won't show you the bikini when I pick it, but maybe closer to the time. And yeah, I think that is pretty much the lowdown of where we're at. I'm really excited to get into this channel, these vlogs, and actually start to bring more value. I just said that this first video would be super simple, just where I was, where I am, and where I want to go. I won't touch on my shows, my specific shows right now, obviously apart from the pro qualifier in France. That is the natural pro qualifier in November. I think if you are in any way involved in the industry, you will probably know what ones I'm doing when you know that I'm doing 3 shows between October and November. But I just think, again, going back to that idea of like self-inflicted pressure, I want to keep those specific dates and shows a little bit closer to my chest for now, and then as things start to progress and hopefully speed up and I get happier with where I am, we can start to talk about the specifics on the dates and what shows I am planning. But yeah, that is me. I am off for an upper session today and a little bit of posing as well, so if I do end up getting any shots that I'm relatively happy with, I might pop them in here. Posing is an area that I cannot stress how much work I had to put in last year for it and continue to put in now, but I am so proud of where I got to from the start to the end of my season last year, and I'm really proud as well of the progress that I'm continuing to make. So I can only hope that what I bring this year is so much better than what I brought to stage last year. So posing is going to be another thing that I probably do touch on a lot as well, because it is something that I need to maintain. I can't just do a lesson once a month and then check in and then that's it. I just have to continuously practice. So yes, if I do get any any relatively shareable clips of posing, I will pop those in here. I probably won't record my upper sessions. I'll probably keep those for a separate video, just keeping this super simple and allowing me to actually concentrate on the session today. So thank you so much if you have made it to the end of this video. I know it probably wasn't the most engaging thing in the world, but it is just setting the scene of what's to come. If there is absolutely anything that you would like to see me go into over the next 24 plus weeks of prep, please do let me know. Send me a message on Instagram, it's Erin_teamevolve, or comment down below, whatever you want to do. Whether it's questions you have, whether it's topics you want to see me cover in a video or a vlog, or anything at all that might come to your mind, I'll be happy to do. So thank you so much again, and I am really looking forward to taking you along on this journey with me.